Are you tired of working the early mornings, late nights, and weekends? I know you started your practice for more freedom, but you're giving yourself everything but that. Let's go through action steps that you can take in order to free yourself, to free yourself from the hustle and grind when it comes to your practice. And I remember I got to the place of being so burned out and so tired, I hated the sound of my name. I could not allow for the practice, honestly, to kill me, right? Because it was. I am giving myself what I need and I'm showing up better for it. Welcome to CEO Conversations, the private practice podcast. I'm your host, Brandy Mabra. This is your one-stop shop to learn the business side of your practice on a deeper level. On this show, we empower you to own your CEO status to scale your practice for growth, sustainability, and profit. Listen in as we talk about how to market your practice to gain more visibility, hire, build, and engage your ride or die dream team, create streamlined operations, and make financial decisions as a CEO. It's time to show up as a confident leader to create a practice and life you love. Let's get started. Hello. Welcome to another episode of CEO Conversations, the private practice podcast. This is Brandy Mabra, and today we are talking all about how to own your boundaries as a private practice CEO. So one of the things I know to be true is private practice owners are really good at making sure that their team has everything that they need to be successful. That includes all of them. And when I say that, I mean you give them all of your hours, all of your time, all of your energy, all of who you are to the place where you run yourself into the ground. You're burning the candle at both ends, and you are in a place of, I hate it here. I created a business that I do not enjoy, and we need to do less of that, right? So this always comes back to boundaries. The hard part with boundaries is owning the boundary. I'm speaking that from experience because I am naturally a people pleaser, but also I recognize my energy. I'm not like, when we're talking about, even if anybody's familiar with human design, I am a projector, which means my energy is limited. I'm not a manifesting generator. I am not the person who can run like the Energizer Bunny. No, I am the person I need slow mornings. I need, my breaks. I need time to think and I need time to take things in. So I remember, I'm going to go back to the days where I was first in practice management, and I had my team that would come to me and they needed so much stuff. Oh, they were so cute. They needed so many things. They had all the questions and they had all the, hey, Brandy, what about this? Hey, Brandy, what do we do about this? Hey, Brandy, can you do this? Hey, Brandy, I need that. Hey, Brandy, hey, Brandy, hey, Brandy, hey, Brandy, hey. And I remember I got to the place of being so burned out and so tired, I hated the sound of my name. And it was, the number one reason was because I wasn't owning my boundaries. I did not have a clear working schedule. I did not have hours when I was on and hours when I was off. I was on all the time. And so fast forward to me being extremely exhausted, me regretting my life choices, me wanting to do something different inside my practice, I had to choose. Right. And so I remember I had a mentor who was amazing, wonderful. She's still my mentor today. And she caught me. She caught me working at midnight. And I was still in the office at midnight. And she was like, why are you here? And I'm like, why are you here? You're getting on me because you're here, because I'm here. Why are you here? And so we both talked through like the burnout effect, the work, the fact that I love what I do. I still love what I do. And that can be where you feel, so just to step into your shoes a bit, where you feel, okay, my to-do list is never ending. My to-do list is so long. Nobody on my team can do what I do. Nobody can either send this email, or they're not trained up, or they don't know, or I can do it faster. Like all of those things can definitely step in, and it will keep you working till midnight. And so that was my story. That's exactly what I was doing. So eventually what I got to a place of is having to own the boundary of, okay, I work from this time to this time. I cannot answer your question. I am not your SOP. You have an SOP. Please go find your SOP and then come back to me. I had to get to a place of just recognizing I had a little boy at the time. Um, I had a family, I had other goals and aspirations that I wanted to do. I could not allow for the practice honestly to kill me, right? Because it was in so many different ways. And so fast forward to what I see with the clients that I work with, and maybe this is resonating with you. You're doing the same thing, right? So in some type of way, you're letting the passion that you have for your practice, or you're letting the vision that you have, or the purpose that you've been given to overcome and take over everything. And what you will get to a place of is not resiliency, and it's not determination, it's not tenacity. It's something different, right? It's something that will, if you allow it to, it will kill you, right? Just from the stress of it. And you as a person, you can only take on so much. And as a person, you need time away, you need breaks. And so this is where boundaries come into play. So whether if it's the hours that you're working, I recommend for everyone to have working hours. And because we're entrepreneurs, we can do that, right? We can go ahead and set the time that we're working. So even for me, this past week, I went to the salon. That's how I spent my morning. I spent my morning in the salon. Felt great. Got my hair washed, got my massage, on my scalp, was able to chit chat and socialize. And so that's how I started my day. What did that allow for me to do? When I sat down at my desk, I felt rejuvenated. I felt refreshed. I felt, ready. I felt pretty because my hair, I felt more confident. And I was able to show up the way that I needed to show up. Also, I was able to work a little bit later, but it wasn't because I was working like a 12-hour shift. No, I was still good. I was still like on top of my A game. And so what I see a lot of times is people try to push through, let me just get one more thing done. No, put it away. It'll be there for you tomorrow. So the thing with boundaries and what truly owning your CO status is about is you taking the mission and the vision and the purpose that you have and finding a way for you to achieve it, and finding the right team that can help you so that way you don't burn out. So that way you can be in a place to sustain the practice. You can be in a place to leverage the practice so that way you can have true time freedom. You can make more money. I always love, 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 love when clients talk about that, where, I worked less this past year and I'm making more money. I have more time. I have more energy. My family sees a difference. My team sees a difference. I'm not micromanaging. I'm not up late at night. I am giving myself what I need and I'm showing up better for it. Right. And so that is possible. We have clients year over year who have made 100,000 plus 200,000, 400,000 because they decided to work less. When we're talking about profit, 30% more profit, 47% more profit. Like these are real tangible numbers that people are making in what's happening inside a private practice CEO because people are owning their boundaries. They're putting something in place that's stopping them from overextending themselves. So that way, when they are working, they're set up for success.
Hey, private practice owner, I have great news. Private Practice CEO is officially open for enrollment. So if you've been sitting at your desk frustrated with the business side of your practice, not too sure what to do about your team dynamic, haven't looked at your numbers in a while, then this program is for you. Inside of Private Practice CEO, we're all about you scaling your practice for growth, sustainability, and profit, making sure that we are setting you up for success. So that way you can leverage your practice. You can have freedom of time in your practice, and you don't have to sit there burned out, frustrated, and overwhelmed because you're not sure what to do next. If any of this sounds great to you, then I want to make sure that you apply today because the program is phenomenal. We have amazing testimonials for practice owners who have been able to have more structure, able to make more money, being able to lead from a place of empowerment, and definitely been able to leverage their practice to go after more. So click the link today.
Some of the common mistakes that I see when it comes to leaders really and CEOs just owning their boundaries is what I call the boomerang effect. The boomerang effect is where you'll own it You'll own the boundary, right? So let's say that you delegate something. Great job. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to give it to my team member, and they're going to take it over. Fast forward, maybe a day, maybe 2 days, maybe a week. Well, so and so isn't done with it yet. Or this doesn't look how I wanted it to look. Or it's taking too long. Oh, let me have it back. Give it back to me. Or where you've owned your boundary. Nope, I don't have the answer. Go find the SOP. And then you sit there and you feel bad and you sit in your guilt. And then you go back and you're, oh, well, what question were you able to find it? Let me just go ahead and show you. Or where somebody calls you and you don't pick up the phone because you have other things that you need to focus on. And you feel bad about that. Or you see the email is glaring you in the face and you want to answer it so bad because you feel bad. All of these things have to do with boundaries, and all of these things have to do with how you interact with your team, how you're interacting with your work every day. And it is one of the hardest things to sit in. So how do you do this? How do you do this? I would say let your team hold you accountable when it comes to the boomerang effect. So in my business, I have an assistant who helps me with my email. She helps me filter my email, and I will be fully transparent. Handing over my email is one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do. And it sounds so simple and it sounds so like, oh, fun. But to not be responsive or to not be in a place of let me answer your question, or it's a boundary that I needed to put into place, but also too it's a hard boundary to definitely handle. However, it's a boundary that I consistently work on. So sometimes when you're trying to own the boundary or you're trying to keep yourself from doing the boomerang effect, letting your team hold you accountable. So my assistant will say, Brandy, you hired me to help you with your email. Brandy, get out of your inbox. Brandy, leave me alone. I got it. So, or just having the clarity for what the process is, what the system is, what the cadence is, always helps you to own your boundary as well. And then getting a little bit real with yourself and digging a little bit deeper. Why do you want to take it back? What's happening? Usually I always say when with a team member, if you've given them something, and you're trying to honor the boundary of delegation, then there's something that's missing with the communication for how you delegated. So there's 7 steps to delegation. I'm not going to go through all 7 steps of delegation, but one of them is the follow-up plan, and one of them is to make sure that the communication is on point, right? And so with the follow-up plan, it's more or less like how is that person supposed to let you know that they weren't able to complete the task, or how is that person supposed to let you know that they're having problems? How's that person supposed to let you know that they're done with it? Like what's the deadline? And then what's the communication format? So is it through email? Is it through another meeting? Is it through a phone call? Is it through a DM, a Slack message? Like, what does that look like inside of your practice? And what does that conversation look like? The other thing is when it comes to boundaries, especially if you're trying to make sure that you work a certain amount of time or like a certain schedule, what accountability are you putting into your day for yourself not to overwork? So for example, I know I have clients who I want to be done at 5. I want to close my laptop, I want to get away from my desk, I want to leave the office at 5. What are you doing to help you with that? Is there something that you could set up for yourself? So is there a certain appointment that you could make at 5:30 that's a non-negotiable? Is there a partner that could help you, to make sure that you're coming home? Is there an alarm that you could set for yourself that notifies you that says go home? So is there a reminder? Like there's so many things that you can do, but at the end of the day, the number one thing that you could do, especially when you're trying to own the boundary with your team or with yourself or with your work, is to have the discipline just to own it. And then just recognize that it's going to be fluid, right? There's going to be refinement and grace that you might have to give yourself, but stop lying to yourself and just have the discipline and the willpower to just do it and just be okay with that. So it's a muscle that you have to exercise. It's a muscle that takes time, and it's a muscle that you have to consistently work. But just like when you work out any other muscle, it'll grow, it'll get bigger, it'll get stronger, and eventually you'll do it. So at the end of the day, you have to know what your non negotiables are, and you have to honor your non negotiables. And nobody can do that for you. Nobody. So even when we're talking about boundaries, there was the episode that aired for how to have tough conversations. How to have tough conversations is also you honoring your boundaries, right? Boundaries is all about self care and making sure that you're giving yourself what you need. And so, if you're having a hard time with honoring your boundaries or there's a tough conversation that you need to have, go back to that episode and reference it. And so there will be some additional tips there to help you. But at the end of the day, I want you to respect what you need as a business owner, as a CEO, and definitely honor your boundaries. So I hope that this was helpful, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Thanks for listening today. I hope you enjoyed the episode and it empowers you as the CEO of your practice. If you enjoyed the podcast, please make sure you subscribe, share the message, and leave a review. If you want more information and support in growing and scaling your practice, click the link in the show notes to take advantage of our free resources or apply to work with me directly. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.